And just like that, Riot came back to give us some news on League of Legends. They arrived with the mid-year check-in, where they break down what is currently happening and what are their plans for the future. And all the news we got came from 3 different sources. Besides the main dev update, we also got a devlog about how Arena was made, but on top of these, Riot also gave us a whole separate post. Also, they talked about what they will reveal in the next dev update. So today, we'll talk about all of those, starting with the mid-year check-in. Here, Meddler and Brightmoon appear to talk about League's future. At the start, they actually address the beginning of this year, which many of you may remember was not great. And they talk about how the circumstances made them push for more content. And first, they focused on Arena. Apparently they recorded this video just as Arena went live, so they gave us some thoughts about it. They are not expecting this game mode to fix all the issues that came from the beginning of this year, but they are hoping that it would be a meaningful step towards putting League into a better position. Onto which I would love to add, yeah, that is exactly what happened, and it seems like Arena might become a big hit. Next, they decided to answer some common questions about Arena. The most popular question was, will Arena ever return? Here we learned that the version of Arena that we are playing right now was intended only for Soul Fighter. If Arena proves to be popular within reasonable numbers, they would be up to bring it back, but if they do, they will definitely give it some more polish. For example, they also want to give us custom lobbies, or queuing in with more than just one friend. After that, they tackle the fact that Arena has specific balancing, just like ARAM, and in the future there will be both champion-specific tuning, as well as bigger changes on the overall damage dealt and taken. And as you may know, some of these already made it into the game. And then they push us towards the Arena devlog, where they answer more of these questions. So, let's head over there now. Here the first question is, what is Arena? Which I believe we can safely skip. After that, they talk about the balance adjustments, which we have already learned about, but they gave us some examples, for example nerfing the damage on Teemo's mushrooms, nerfing Liandry's Anguish, or specifically nerfing the Shrink Ray augment. So literally everything is up on the table when it comes to changes. Next, they confirm that champions with stacking abilities will simply get their stacks over time as they play the game mode. Of course, these are things that most of you already know about. But then they talk about the new and returning items. Yes, in case you didn't notice, Arena has some items which are not available on Summoner's Rift. But unfortunately, it is not likely that these items will make it outside of the arena, because some of these items are simply not gonna work properly in the Summoner's Rift environment. With that said, if some items prove to be popular because they are fun to use, they might look into adapting them. When it comes to custom games, as you've heard, there is currently no way to make a custom lobby of Arena. But should Arena ever return, that is absolutely something they will look into. Of course, this would also allow for custom Arena tournaments. Similarly, another thing that is currently not part of Arena are Eternals, Challenges and Masteries. So should Arena return, those might be included. Which is great, because for me, that is currently the only way I could get any mastery at all. Another question was, will augments come to other game modes such as ARAM? And the answer we got is no! At least there are no current plans for it. But it seems like all the devs are really excited about augments, so there is the likelihood that they might do something with them in the future. Next, we got a big question: when will Arena come back? Again, just like what they said in the video. They are all excited about the game mode, but it will all depend on the feedback. Besides just the total player count of Arena, they will look into how satisfied players are with this game mode. Are casual players who don't like ranked happy with it? Do players continue to play it after the novelty wears off? And of course, in the background, they will be looking into a lot more statistics. And from my perspective, at least as it is right now, it seems like Arena is holding strong. The next question is kinda related to this. Will Arena be a permanent mode? Again, it will depend on feedback, but they confirmed that they will have an update on this in the next devlog. So the next time we get an update, things might get exciting. And then there is the last question on the list, which is, where can I give feedback on Arena? Social media. Now, besides this post, we also got a devlog about Arena itself. And here we got some really cool and important behind the scenes. For example, yet again, they start talking about how rough the beginning of the year was. And they agreed on the fact that they simply weren't delivering content as fast as they should. But also, people simply wanted to play League in more ways than just Summoner's Rift, which apparently put urgency onto accelerating things forward. For a while, they were experimenting around the idea of low-stress League experience, a game mode that would be about wacky fun, which is actually what the players wanted. The original prototype was put together over a few weeks at the end of 2022, and soon after that, the question of when will you ship it arrived. They were confident that they could pull it off before the end of 2023. But remember, the beginning of 2023 was not good at all. So they tried to pitch a summer release, to which the technical side of the game mode told them that is most likely not possible. So instead they pitched for the summer event, to which the technical side replied, that's the same thing. So the least they could do was to try. Unfortunately, it was around this time that Riot Games got hacked. Some of you may remember that entire drama, but they were still pushing for an entire game mode to be done in 6 months. And apparently, and this is quite cool to hear, even the leadership got their back. And they started greenlighting things to make Arena League's top priority. Of course, they were probably under pressure from League's recent downfall, but it's still reassuring that when things need to be done and Riot's reputation is on the line, they are ready to double down. So, as an example, they transferred a bunch of the people working on Champions onto the new game mode's team. Which of course explains why there was a slowdown on the Champion releases. It's because the priority was now on actual content. Another cool thing they mentioned is that as they started working on Arena, a new passion got reignited in all the rioters that were working on it. It was a new wacky game mode where everything was possible, and everyone was happy to chip in with their own cool things. This is important because, as you might know, all of Riot's good products came from passion. From Valorant to Riot's MMO to TFT. And so Arena is yet another proof that passion does wonders. And of course, one of the features that came out of this were augments, which turned out to be the most exciting part about this game mode. Another interesting thing they mentioned is that they were happy to finally make a game mode where winning was not the only point. Since there were 4 teams now, you were likely to lose. So making a game mode where it is okay to lose gave them a whole new perspective. Related to that, they also realized that they had to stick to 2-person teams. That's because some champions simply wouldn't work in 1v1 scenarios. Originally, I was hoping there would be a one-on-one version in the future, but after playing it a lot, yeah, they definitely made the right decision. But then they mentioned some other cool details. For example, they purposefully made the fire circle always end up in the middle of the arena, because they specifically gave every arena a different shape at the center. On one arena it may be just a circle, on another one there might be a walk around, and another one might just split it into 2 parts. So even all of this was absolutely by design. But also they gave Arena a whole new type of terrain. They call it deep water. It is a terrain that blocks movement but does not block vision. Its purpose is to give squishy champions some leverage against bruisers, because their only weapon against them is to kite. And this terrain did exactly that. It gives them some space without the cost of losing sight. Many people may not realize that this kind of terrain doesn't actually exist on Summoner's Rift. And at the end of the video, they once again mentioned the fact that the people working on this game mode were really excited about it. And they hoped they translated that excitement into fun, which I would argue they absolutely did. And they even mentioned that this game mode is for those who don't just want to play Summoner's Rift all the time. And again, I would argue, yeah, they got it. But that's it for the massive Arena update. So now let's go back to the main devlog. There they continued with Quick Play, a mode where you pick a champion and a lane. It skips the entire picking process and you go right into a game, which should function as a replacement for Blind Pick. Originally, they wanted to get it out during the mid-year patch, but Arena, Soul Fighter and the ranked updates pushed it back a little bit. So now they are planning to release it later this year. Then we got an interesting update on the Star Guardian skins from Wild Rift. Of course, we know that Seraphine and Oriana made it onto the live servers, but Meddler confirmed that these two skins became some of their most popular this entire year. So of course, they are working on Rakan and Xayah to come out later this year as well. I'm not surprised, it is Star Guardians after all. And then they confirmed that the Blue Essence Emporium is coming back. It should arrive during the patch 13.17. It should look similar to what we got before, but there will be a lot of new tech in the background. For example, there will be a mass disenchant button to make it rain with Blue Essence. And going into the future, Blue Essence Emporium should come back twice a year. Next up, they also talk about updating ability icons. Specifically, they mention Graves, Jaina, Jarvan, Nami, Oriana, and Varus. They are aware that this is nothing massive, but they are still working on it. And to conclude the video, they started teasing what they will talk about next time. There, they will give us their verdict on the state of Arena, as well as how they will look into future game modes. They will give us some massive updates on preseason, including updates on items, also Jax's VGU, but also Briar. Yeah, be ready for the vampire-like champion to start getting teased in the next update. And over on Reddit we got it confirmed that Briar might appear on PBE within the next few big cycles. And in case you don't remember, Briar is the next vampire-like champion, who might also be related to Noxus, which kinda makes sense. But most importantly, that is something I am very excited about, because that is one of the rare few cases when I actually get to talk about lore again.